Hello and welcome. You're with us here on Business Today. I'm Abha Bakaya. Here are the headlines. The rupee crosses the 83 barrier, closes at 83.02 to a dollar for the first time, plunges 66 paise against a surging dollar. Stock markets continue their winning streak for a fourth straight day as blue chips lead gains. Sensex up 147 points, Nifty up 25, crosses the 17,500 level. As gold prices drop to a 6-month low, World Gold Council says it sees demand and prices picking up as the wedding season begins in India. Annual demand seen comfortably crossing last year levels. Tamil Nadu Assembly passes legislation to ban online gambling games, regulation to include rummy and poker or any other game involving stakes. Royce jumps on the EV bandwagon, unveils the super luxury electric car Spectra. First deliveries expected in late 2023. Stock markets continued their winning streak for a fourth straight day. Sensex closed at 59,107, up 147 points. The Nifty shut shop above the 17,500 mark. HDFC, Nestle India, ITC, Reliance and Axis Bank were the top blue chip gainers. On the downside, NTPC, JSW Steel, Bajaj Finserv, SBI and Coal India were some of the top laggards today. Meanwhile, the rupee sank to a historic low against the dollar after the biggest single-day fall in over a month. The Indian currency slipped past the 83 per US dollar mark as surging US Treasury yields prompted a broad rally in the greenback. The festive season is upon us, and with Dhanteras around the corner, Indians are expected to invest heavily in gold. The yellow metal has been losing sheen this year, and analysts believe that a price drop ahead of Dhanteras could support retail demand. So how will demand for gold shape up this festive season? We spoke to PR Somasundaram of World Gold Council. Listen in.
We saw massive demand for gold last year in the festive quarter, the October to December quarter. What can we expect this time around? Are people going to go out there? Is gold going to see some record sales?
Yeah, well, this is always a peak season for gold buying because you have Dhanteras, Diwali, and then lots of wedding dates during this quarter. So traditionally, this is one of the best quarters for gold, always. Other than those 2 years when we had the lockdown, I mean, particularly 1 year, 2020. In fact, 2021, I would say, was one of the best quarters we ever saw in 25 years of our data series. The reason was not hard to find. We had a lockdown, so people couldn't go out and buy. We had lots of savings because there were no other spends. And in fact, we heard it across the country. Most jewelers said, because the weddings were muted affairs, they said people spent more on gold last year. So we saw a record 343 tons last year, which is in that sense equivalent to 150,000 crore of buying. This year again, it's been good monsoon and there is festive spirit all over. People are going to be buying gold. Is that going to be as high as last year is the question. There are obviously some views around it because while the gold prices internationally have come down significantly, we haven't seen much of it in India because still our rupee has depreciated. So that has compensated for the drop in the global price. Yet it is soft. So you could see a big surge in demand. Will it be as high as last year? There are opinions around it.
Okay, but what are your expectations on the gold sales in India on Dhanteras when, you know, the maximum buying of gold perhaps happens in India?
Yeah, it is always very difficult to estimate on a particular day. There are various figures. We do not have a figure of our own. We do a quarterly research on the data, but we do not have as Dhanteras. But figures range from 30 tons to 50 tons in a day on Dhanteras. So it is obviously one of the biggest buying occasions, and I would probably think it is one of the biggest buying occasions in the world as well in terms of gold.
Yes. You know what, like you pointed out, that gold prices have been subdued through this year. They are at the 6-month lows. Has that aided the demand so far in this year for gold purchase in India? And could it be reason enough for more Indians to go out there and buy more gold this festive season?
See, what we saw in the first half, we look at the calendar year, there
Yeah.
was a 7% jump over last year. So first half, we ended with our estimate of 307 tons of gold. Last year, we bought 800 tons of gold,
Yeah.
right? Last year, full year. Now, first half this year was 300 tons, which is 7% more than last year. But then last year was not exactly a good year. Don't forget, it was quarter 2, 2021, one of the quarters we would always like to forget for many reasons. So against that, it is only a 7% growth for various reasons, because inflation and rural economy is still trying to come back, etc. We have seen things have improved a lot over that with good monsoons, etc. Third quarter is always a subdued quarter, although the end of it is seasons like puja and other stuff coming up. We may see a jump, but I'm not very sure we will see the kind of spurt we saw last year, because as I said, last year we had a lot of subdued demand that came out, the new demand, and also people had lots of savings. Now people have started spending more on other stuff as well. They've started holidaying more. Cars have increased. So to that extent, the wallet share towards gold may also be affected at the top end. And at the bottom end, you're seeing stiff inflation. So how these are going to play out in terms of the aggregate has to be seen. That is why I said it will definitely be a very good quarter, but it will be as good as last year is something we need to wait and watch. We are not very positive. It will still be a very good quarter, but it may not be as high as last year.
The Tamil Nadu government has reiterated for a long time that they are committed to banning online gambling. Tamil Nadu Law Minister S. Regupati introduced a bill in the State Assembly to ban online gambling games, which were passed today. We have India Today's Pramod Madhav joining us on the same. Pramod, tell our viewers what happened in the Assembly today.
Absolutely. This has been a kind of a menace Tamil Nadu government had to face for a long time, and the Tamil Nadu state government also faced a lot of criticism from opposition, unable to ban online gambling. What happened earlier was that separate amendments were brought in, but those were struck down by the court because it was not done in the proper manner, and finally Tamil Nadu government went ahead, a cabinet decision was taken, then it was sent to the governor, who promulgated the ordinance on October, and finally it has been passed in the assembly today.
How did the Tamil Nadu government decide to do this, Pramod?
Certainly, the Tamil Nadu government has also given an explanation that this was a kind of decision which was taken after a proper recognition. For instance, a retired Justice Chandru, a committee was created, and he was the one who gave in various information about the ill effects of online gambling. And also, Tamil Nadu government said that a discussion was held with the parents and teachers before deciding to go ahead and regulate online gaming as well.
Right. And what are some of the punishments mentioned?
Yes, now the punishment that has been stated in this particular bill which has been passed today is that if you are found guilty of playing online gambling, you will have to pay a fine of Rs 5,000 or 3 months imprisonment or both. And if you are found guilty of advertising online gambling, it's 5 lakh fine or 1 year imprisonment or both together.
Thanks for that. Now, while the government may be the biggest employer in the country, the private sector is not far behind. A deep dive into employment numbers by the Business Today TV research team throws up some surprising data.
Indian Army, Indian Railways, two of the biggest employers in the country. While the number of active personnel in the Army is estimated to be more than 14.5 lakh. The Railways has more than 12 lakh employees. The third largest employer, Police, employs 11.33 lakh. However, there are many listed companies which also have lakhs of employees. Business Today TV has compiled a list of India's biggest employment providers in the listed space. There are as many as 13 listed companies with more than 1 lakh employees. The leader of the pack is Tata Consultancy Services, which has 5.92 lakh employees as of March 2022. The second rank is held by Reliance Industries with 3.43 lakh employees. Another IT major, Infosys, follows in the third place. The biggest listed PSU employer is Coal India, with an employee strength of 2.48 lakh. It is followed in the fifth place by the country's largest bank, State Bank of India. Wipro, SIS, HDFC Bank, HCL Tech and Tech Mahindra complete the top 10 employers list. As many as 20 listed companies have more than 50,000 employees. Among them, 7 are government companies and the rest are private firms. Bureau Report, Business Today Television.
The highest food prices in 42 years have pushed consumer inflation to a 40-year high in September. CPI rose to 10.1% in September against 9.9% in August. The index is expected to rise further in coming months. Food costs jumped 14.6% in September. That's the biggest rise since 1980, with bread, cereals, meat and dairy prices skyrocketing. Energy and transportation costs also hit the public quite hard. Prices have been affected by a weakening pound as well as supply problems arising out of the war in Ukraine. What makes a city like Surat or Indore a smart city? What lessons can India take from other smart cities of the world? Our tech editor Ayush Alavadi had an exclusive conversation with the CEO for Smart Infrastructure and the managing board member at Siemens AG, Matthias Rebellius, in Siemensstadt, Berlin.
Well, on Tech Today, I have a very special guest with me here at the Siemens HQ in Berlin, Matthias Rebellius. Thanks so much for joining us on Tech Today.
Yeah, hello everybody out there, so it's good.
Matthias, you've worked so much in smart cities, and in India we have a very robust smart cities plan. But from a technology perspective, I wanted to understand what are the true parameters that Indian cities should be working on to make them truly smart using technology.
Making more digital and then also more renewable, more sustainable. So how to do this? First of all, we need more renewable energy sources, outside the cities or inside the cities, and connect all of the assets. So we have smart metering and then also more intelligent grid to manage the complexity and increasing complexity in the low voltage grid, especially with all the e-car charging infrastructure and also the decentral generation that we are having. And this will provide more sustainability in cities.
I think that's fascinating. You mentioned EVs as well. Now, we've seen a lot of EVs here at Siemensstadt, but of course, we are trying to push for EVs in India in a big way as well. Charging infrastructure, range anxiety. Are there things out there in terms of smart mobility that tech companies like Siemens have to offer as well, which can make the whole process a lot more efficient?
Yes, we also talk about the hybrid world. That does not mean that we have hybrid cars only, but we live in, there's an evolution of things. So the number of EV cars will of course increase, but not only in the private world, but it's also we talk about autonomous driving, we talk about charging as a service and electrical fleet management, which is a very important point, and also for bus charging, for example. We have in all of these areas we have examples around the world, also in India. And I do see this increasing significantly, and it needs investments also from the cities, the states, and also from private investors.
We're standing in front of an iconic historic building, and it's fascinating to see the mix of traditional architecture and all these smart solutions. Is this the way forward for the world? Smart cities similar to this one in Berlin?
Especially here, as we are celebrating our 175th birthday of Siemens today here in Berlin at this site, and we are just about to start the refurbishment of one of the largest here in Siemensstadt, where we combine the historic legacy, which we will also preserve for the next generations, with modern technology and making it a net zero, fully sustainable campus, open also for where people live and work, have also research and develop and deploy the technologies for the future, where we also will be supporting for the next 175 years as one of the most relevant tech companies in the world.
Matthias, thanks so much for speaking to us. An absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Here's what else is making news in the corporate world. Nykaa parent company FSN E-Commerce Ventures has nearly erased all gains that it made after its bumper listing last year. The company's share today touched a new low of 1,130 rupees per share, just 5 rupees shy of its issue price of 1,125. SpiceJet announced a 22% increase in the salary of its captains completing 80 hours of flying a month. The increased salary effective November will be 7 lakh rupees per month, more than their pre-COVID salaries. The much-awaited Paris Auto Show is back again after 4 years. However, things are still not the same, especially for a sector hit hard by COVID and its aftermath. Those expecting the Paris Auto Show to return to its past glory were a disappointed lot.
One of the biggest auto shows in the world, the Paris Auto Show is back after 4 years. The glitz, the glamour, the showbiz is all there. What is not are the cars. The biggest players in the world, some from right next door to France, are conspicuous by their absence. The Germans, the Italians, none of the Uber auto brands like Mercedes, BMW, Volkswagen, Ferrari, Alfa Romeo are in attendance, all saving money in uncertain times. The only cars present are the local brands like Renault and Citroën, leaving the spectators disappointed.
Disappointed, very disappointed. I come very often, nearly every edition of the show, but I think it's the last time I come. It's as if someone wanted to stop us liking cars. I think all the ingredients are there for that.
It's the electric cars which are everywhere. EVs made for city commute, for daily use, riding the recent wave of popularity. The dip in interest is so acute that the organizers have limited the show to just a week instead of the 3 weeks it normally was.
I have just arrived here, so I haven't seen everything, but what I have seen so far is all electric. I haven't really seen any fuel-powered cars. You see, there's an evolution.
There are some fan favorites though, like this 1000 bhp racing monster carved out of a Fiat Multipla. The car's been created by 2 French YouTubers thanks to their subscribers. Warner Brothers also presented their Bat-Sickle, a prototype which will feature in their next game release, Gotham Knights, another monster which will never reach the streets. Bureau Report, Business Today TV.
Rolls-Royce has taken the cover off its first all-electric vehicle, the Spectra, an ultra-luxury coupe with an estimated range of 520 kilometers. The car will hit the roads late next year. And the price tag, enough to make even the wealthiest choke on their tea.
For a brand as British as James Bond, it's no wonder that even the model name has been lifted off the 2015 British spy thriller Spectre. Super luxury car maker Rolls-Royce has unveiled its first ever fully electric coupe, the Spectre, more than 120 years after their founder predicted an electric future for his cars. In an interview published in the Motor Car Journal in April 1900, Charles Rolls described electric propulsion in terms that over a century later rings true. He said, "The electric car is perfectly noiseless and clean. There is no smell or vibration, and they should become very useful when fixed charging stations can be arranged." He said, "I do not anticipate that they will be very serviceable, at least for many years to come."
This is not only an important day, it is a very special day for us, because it goes back to the year 1900 when one of our founders, Charles Rolls, made a prophecy, and that prophecy was that electric drive is a perfect fit because it's clean, it's noiseless, and once charging is able and is fixed, the charging problem, then this is the ideal propulsion for a car.
Despite measuring nearly 5.5 meters in length and weighing nearly 3 tons, Spectre can accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 4.3 seconds and is expected to have a range of 520 kilometers. Final figures for the range will only be confirmed after it completes more than 2.5 million kilometers of test driving. simulating more than 400 years of use. On board, technology includes 18 different sensors that monitor the suspension, steering, braking and power to keep the car stable when cornering on any road surface.
I think we are coming at the very right moment, and everything you experience in the car gives you that pleasing feeling of riding on a magic carpet ride, wafting through the country, flight on land in electric form.
Available options including thousands of softly illuminated stars in the doors, roof lining and dashboard, and original artwork. The company has not disclosed the price, but has said it will be positioned between the Cullinan, its luxury SUV, and the classic Phantom, putting the tag at around $400,000 US. Though with extras and customization, the sky's the limit. Bureau Report, Business Today Television.
That's all for now, but we leave you with these images from the Paris Auto Show of a life-size replica of the Lamborghini Sian supercar built entirely of Lego plastic pieces. As many as 400,000 Lego bricks were used to piece together this gorgeous car. It took 135,000 man-hours by a team of 15 to design and build the car, which weighs over 2 tons. Visitors to the Paris Auto Show will be able to play with a touchscreen which triggers the sound of the engine and controls and lighting in and around the car. For those who can't afford the real thing, Lego Technics offers a 1/8 version of the car for €450.